the agenda is in the, like, just in case if I have to come back or something happens, I just want to let you guys know. Okay, so I just started recording the meeting. We're gonna go ahead and get started in about another 2 minutes.
Perfect. And then interns, hello interns. If we can just say we're here on the chat for me so I can get your attendance, that's going to be very, very helpful. So just interns, if you can just say, hey, I'm here on the chat, please go ahead and do that. Yay. Oh, we love our interns.
Screen one. So I hope you can see my screen. Okay. Yes, everybody can see my screen. Had to make sure. All right. So let me go ahead and pull up attendance, and then David can go ahead and start with attendance. Yeah, it's moving slow. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to move fast.
And hopefully, again, interns, hopefully that's everybody. If you're here, just say, just in the chat, say, hey, I'm here. So I can get everybody's attendance.
Girl, come on. You see it right there? Okay, there we go. Okay.
Cameron, is that your dog drinking in the background?
Yes, I didn't know you could hear that. Sorry.
No, it's
Yeah, he's back here. He's like thirsty. He always gulps down the water. Like
my beagles do it too.
He does?
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Some dogs just like water more than others. Like Great Danes, for example, they love water.
Oh, that's so cute. Okay. Okay. All right, David. You can go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna join the not to join the meeting. I'm going to bring this meeting to order at 5:32 p.m.
Alrighty, let's do roll call. Senator Alyssa. Okay. Casey.
I'm here.
Christopher. Then there's me. Grant's here. Hector.
Here.
JT, you're here as well. Jordan.
Here.
Kelsey.
Here.
Melissa.
Melissa's not here.
Okay. Navia.
Here.
Paola.
Here.
Ryan.
Here.
Stefania.
Here.
Tara.
She's also not here.
Maria.
Here.
Sophia.
Here.
Melissa.
Here.
Victoria.
Here.
And lastly, Senator Bushra.
So we have 5 absent senators.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go forward within the agenda. So we do have Daisy Gillum, I believe that's how you pronounce the last name. So let me see if Daisy is here with us on the call. So she's here from the Career Center to talk about presentation. So Senator Victoria I know in a minute, we can probably give you some time to speak about your initiative that she is working on currently. But she's been working with the Career Center, and so she can expand upon that a little later. But we do have Daisy here to give us a presentation of the Career Center and programs they'll have later on this semester. See, I don't know why this is doing this. I hate internet. Okay. Yes, Daisy is here.
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, Daisy.
Hi.
How are you doing?
You guys are meeting 7 today, so I'm doing as well as I can be, but I'm excited to be here.
Oh, wow. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
You are a busy lady. Okay, so I'm gonna give you presenter rights, and so you can, if you want to just go ahead with your presentation, and I believe you should. Let me see. Did you receive them? Yeah, I think you should be in them now.
So y'all are gonna have to forgive me a little bit because we actually just switched to Teams. So I'm not so bad, but it's taken me a hot minute. So everyone can see that, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Well then, hi everybody. Again, I'm so happy to be here. I'm my name is Daisy Gillum. I'm the Assistant Director for Events and Employer Services at the Career Center. Cameron actually gave me a promotion on the agenda, which I quite appreciate. So, but what that means is I work with the Career Center to help host a lot of our events and career fairs and things like that. My GA, Bree McCarthy, is also on this call. So I don't know, Bree, do you want to say hi really quick?
Sure. Hi everyone, my name is Brianna McCarthy. You can call me Bree, and I'm Daisy's GA. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to Daisy or myself.
Thank you, Bree. So yeah, we've been working with Victoria, and I was asked to put together a brief presentation to kind of talk about what we do as an office. So first and foremost, the Career Center has a couple of different locations. Our main office is in Sage Hall. We were in Chestnut. We actually moved in March, right before COVID hit and all of that. So we moved and pretty much immediately went home for remote work. So it's kind of bizarre. I only worked in the space for about 2 weeks, I think. But that is our main location. It's the whole, I'll say, right wing of Sage Hall. We also have satellite offices in the BLB, Hickory Hall, GAB, Discovery Park, and at Frisco. Most of our services are available virtually as well. I'm actually really proud of our office and how we managed to pivot to offer virtual services. We really truly didn't have a whole lot that was virtual until we started working from home. So it was a quick pivot for us, and we did it, I think, super well. So I'm always proud of the office about that. So I mentioned already, our office has, I'm going to call it 3.5 teams is how we kind of divide it up. So again, Bree and I are on employer services, employer development, whatever you want to call it. So that's one team. There's also the career education team, which is the career coaches. There's a third team that's kind of like the team and a half because they're assessment and operations, but they're also student success. So it includes the front desk and student employment and things like that. We do offer quite a few services. So as far as general services, we do print business cards, for instance. I want to say you get up to 50 free on your first print. I believe you can pay for more after that. We also maintain the suit up closet, so it's a way that you can go and basically borrow professional attire for a career fair or an interview or anything like that. We do also do professional headshots. I'm really proud of the fact that all of our services are open to alumni. So if you've been out for a day or 10 years, it doesn't matter. The oldest alumni I've ever talked to is actually, I believe, 85, and she still came back and was able to use our services. And that's something that's very important. It's a free for alumni, and I'm really proud of that. We also do, we have mentoring opportunities, and that's through a new program that we have called Mean Green Mentors. So that's kind of up and coming. You can make an account and access different mentors related to your major or any field that you're interested in going to. And then a lot of this is facilitated on Handshake. So Handshake, you've probably heard of. It's our job board where we post up all of our jobs. It's where I spend a lot of my time because it's also where a lot of the events are housed. So I spend many hours in Handshake going through that. So there's also, as I mentioned, the student employment team. They handle, of course, student employment. You know, their internal goal is to basically be an HR one-stop shop for student employment that does include processing I-9s and background checks. They do also offer work study support. So financial aid obviously actually awards work study, but the student employment team in the Career Center can help support you if you're going through any kind of on-campus work at all, basically. So the other team is the career education team, which that specifically houses the career coaches. So we have, I want to say 7 or 8 career coaches. We have a vacancy, so I apologize. But they're broken up by college. So what that means is that your career coach is assigned to your college, and they are an expert in your college, basically. So they can offer you one-on-one advising, and that can be as simple as, does my resume look okay? Can you help me write a cover letter? To, I don't know what I grow up. I don't know if I'm in the right major. So they really kind of bridge a lot of gaps when it comes to, they're almost advisors, but they're really career coaches. They also do workshops and presentations that we have career assessments such as My Plan. They'll help you with your job search. They can do mock interviews for you. So they're really a very important resource that I wish more students knew about, because it can really and truly make or break your success and after college. So there's also the internship team, which is really complementary to the career coaches. They do a lot of the same things, but they also kind of work hand in hand with the employer services team. And they have more of an internship focus. So if you're looking for an internship, you'd be talking to them more. And they also maintain our job shadowing program, which we're actually redoing and making it way better. So I'm really excited about that. And then the final team is the employer team. So again, that's the team that Bree and I are on. And what we do is we host the career fairs, the networking events, the professional networking series. We maintain the on-campus interview suites. So that includes 25 interview suites that we have in Sage Hall, where employers can come in and conduct interviews. Or you're welcome to basically check out the room if you have like a virtual interview and you want a quiet space. I have 3 dogs and we're obviously in my bedroom. So if you didn't want to have that in an interview, then you could use the interview space as well. And I didn't put it on here, but we do also have another half of our team who focuses on employer outreach. So the way I think about it is that half of the team brings the employers to our campus. And once they're on campus, my team helps give them a really good customer service experience through their interactions and career fairs and things like that. So today we're here to specifically talk to you guys about the professional networking series. And I think Victoria is going to go over this a bit more, but she reached out to us to talk about programming for the College of Science students. And we were like, oh, this is perfect. We've just started talking about this. So what we actually did was we had an etiquette dinner that was a very formal sit-down process. And we had a series of events that we were calling industry dinners that the Student Service Fee Committee had tasked us with. And we basically realized that between this, that, and the other, we were duplicating efforts. So we decided to combine the two into a professional networking series. So you can read the objectives here. This is really Bree's kind of brainchild. It's designed to facilitate networking. If we ever have events in person again, it might be over things like a mocktail hour or a lunch or a brunch, and less of a formal sit-down dinner, because really and truly formal sit-down dinners don't happen much as a part of the recruiting process, whereas you're more likely to go out to lunch or drinks or things like that. So, as far as what all this means for you, and again, I don't want to take Victoria's thunder away. She's talking about, and we've been talking about, her writing legislation to support a continued collaboration between myself and Bree, so the employer services team, with the career coach who's relevant to the major, and with the SGA representative who's relevant to the college. So it would basically kind of form a power group, so to speak, that would focus on a professional networking event related to that college. So it would have that continued collaboration. We would, have better student success. We could take requests for employers that we could bring on board. It could look a lot of different ways, but that's really and truly where we're looking to y'all. I'm again really excited to be here. So I'm curious to see where all this can go. And Bree, did you want to add anything here?
Sure. I just wanted to add in that we love any kind of participation that you guys would like to provide in SGA. We know that there's a lot of versatility with degrees, so if there's anything that you think of for a specific degree that might not be the most popular track for that sort of future career pathway, if you want to say, hey, this degree really does cater to this sort of student pathway, make sure you let us know, because we'll happily bring employers and connect your students with this, because we want to make sure that every student knows that there's a lot of versatility in their degrees and making sure that they can do whatever they set forth to do with their degree.
Yeah, awesome. And that's a fantastic point. So I think that's really the end of my, that's the end of my slide. So this is actually, it's just my contact information. Sorry, I didn't want Bree's email to get overwhelmed, and mine's always a mess. So, but I welcome any emails from you guys. This is also the website and some general information about our general contact information, I should say. And I believe Cameron has a copy of the PowerPoint, so if you want to grab a picture of this, that's fine. Otherwise, I can mail out the PowerPoint after the fact, or Cameron can, or whatever you guys prefer. But that is the end of the slides that I prepared, and now I just want to stop screen sharing. There we go. Wait. Sorry, are you guys still seeing my? Okay, cool.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much, Daisy.
Yeah.
So I just want to also say how much how these services are very important for us to have. Oh Lord, is there like a lot of feedback?
Yeah.
What is that?
And a high-pitched squeal as well.
Is it over? Oh my gosh, I don't know what that was. Okay, sorry. So just for those services, I have a professor, Roxy, and she helps out, and she's over at Frisco campus, and she's like A1 in the entire like mock interviews, the resume building, and everything else. And so like it's very, very, very helpful. So definitely, I would definitely encourage like everyone, let your friends know, other students, whoever, that these services are like they're free for students and they are very useful. Thank you so much though for coming and giving us your presentation though.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just realized, I'm sorry, am I still screen sharing?
No, not anymore.
Okay, sorry, Bree messaged me.
No,
does anyone have any questions for me? I'm happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
I can go ahead and just start like talking about why I decided to bring Daisy upon into SGA. So basically, if y'all remember, I don't know if you do, but I wouldn't. But when I had my appointment speech, I was speaking about how I really wanted to like bridge that divide between pre-meds and, other college of science majors, because a lot of people just think that, oh, you're not a major in biology, like you're just going to be pre-med or pre-health or anything. So that's why I really want to open the doors to the Career Center, because obviously they bring in employers to UNT and bring other career ideas and different paths for people to consider before committing to something that lasts like 10 years. So basically, ever since then, she kind of branched out to the other colleges because, as emphasized before, that College of Business and College of Education usually have a lot of career fairs that I feel like other colleges may lack in. So that's why I want to write some legislation that could help that. And at first, I know we have a lot on our plates as senators, but I feel like one meeting a month or even more during your certain particular month where the college fair is happening would not be that much to just meet with Daisy or anyone else from the Career Center to discuss ideas that y'all hear from your fellow peers in the college that you're in, and just anyone that has given you feedback during office hours, like etc. And what was I going to say? I forgot. But basically, you would meet the month before so you could plan certain employers to come for the month that's designated for your college. So for example, November would be the College of Science. So I would meet with Daisy. Obviously, I need to meet with her a little bit more right now to find some employers for the College of Science to come and just brainstorm ideas. Like, it's really easy. And another thing that I just want to like bring up, because I feel like is relatable to everyone, I feel like everyone knows someone that graduated from college and with a degree they didn't even end up using or have no job after college. So I saw that, Daisy. But yeah, so I feel like that's a really big issue because like, why are we spending $40,000 on our tuition and we end up getting a $10 an hour job, you know, because we didn't look for a job in our junior or senior year. So I feel like this is really important for us to like communicate with our peers and friends and everyone that goes to UNT to bring more awareness that you can't find a job like literally day after you graduate because it takes months of training and all that. So internships, bringing employers, building those connections and networking will really help you while like brainstorming these different employers and help bring awareness to people so they don't graduate with a degree they didn't end up using and, you know, wasting 120 hours of their life studying plus more. And yeah, so it's not that hard. It's just meeting once a year. Just, you know, building more connections between different organizations at UNT, whether they're student-led organizations or actual employed organizations. So that's why Daisy is a very useful resource, and so is Bree. And I think that is it. I'm really excited. I'm excited that Daisy's really optimistic about working with us because how can she know what the students want without, you know, our voice? Because that's what we're in this organization for, you know. So that is it. And yes.
Thank you. And I'll build off of that and try not to soapbox too much. That I cannot tell you guys how many times we have high-level roundtables and talk about how can we get students more involved. And I honestly, I went to UNT for 5 years and I was a horrible student and I just got my degree and it's not from UNT. So I'm a really good example of how not to do college. And you know, more to the point, there is life after college, which of course you guys know that. You're obviously super engaged and plugged in, and I'm just really excited to talk with you guys. I have a couple other initiatives I want to pitch to a couple key people here as well. As far as next steps, Cameron, I guess we can shoot you an email if you wouldn't mind distributing that. Just talking about, you know, the PowerPoint, our contact information. We do have a rough schedule of upcoming networking events, and we can go from there.
I told you I'm having, okay, got it. Yes, I can definitely do that. I've been having so many issues. My computer is running so slow. But yes, I can definitely go ahead and loop the rest of the senators in. And
oh, you got muted, Cameron.
Is it working now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone. Okay, yeah, but I can definitely loop everybody in and go ahead and email them and get them the necessary information. But thank you so much for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you. We'll hop off. We appreciate the time today. I dropped my email in the chat, and I'll be in touch with everyone through Cameron here probably tomorrow. So
Right.
I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys so much.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. So going ahead, resharing my screen. Okay. You guys can see the screen, right? It's like the Microsoft. Yeah, there it is. Okay, it's pulling up now. Girl. Okay. You guys can see my screen, correct? Yes. Okay. So next thing I have on the agenda is approving of minutes. So for the minutes that we have, so I did email these already. I just wanted to go ahead and go through. Were there any objections to the minutes from last meeting on October 14th? Okay, well, if I don't see any hands up, so if there are no objections, I'll go ahead and move forward. So the meeting minutes were approved unanimously. All right, so next thing we have on the agenda is legislation that was submitted by Devin Skinner and Grant Johnson and Jermaine Turner. So I'm gonna go ahead and give over the floor to Senator Grant and Jermaine and Devin, and so we can figure out, you guys can go ahead and go through your bill and just let me know. I'll just leave it on my screen and you guys can let me know as you're going through. Just scroll down.
Okay. So first of all, I'd like to, since we're kind of on a time crunch and due to the sensitive nature of this bill, since the referendum deadline ends on Friday, I move to place this bill in emergency status by a roll call vote.
I second that.
Stop.
That was probably the
Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll move the bill to emergency status. So we'll do a roll call vote. Let me go ahead and pull up roll call. I'm gonna have to go back to my screen. I'm not going to show you guys because I'm just gonna do it from here. This is too much going on. Okay. All right. Senator Casey. And so you guys can just come off mute, and we'll just do it that way.
Aye.
Senator David.
Aye.
Senator Grant.
Aye.
Senator Hector.
Aye.
Senator Jermaine.
Aye.
Senator Jordan.
Aye.
Senator Kelsey. Kelsey. Okay, moving forward. Senator Navia.
Aye.
Senator Paola.
Aye.
Senator Ryan.
Aye.
Senator Stefania.
Aye.
Senator Sophia.
Aye.
Senator Melisa.
Aye.
Senator Victoria.
Aye.
Okay, so this bill has moved to emergency status by unanimous vote. So Grant, go ahead, and since this is emergency status, we need to go ahead and take care of this. All right, so you guys got the floor.
Okay, since this since this piece of legislation was emailed into the agenda, so we had hopefully we'll all have time to kind of look at it. I'd like to move, if it's okay with y'all, I'd like to motion to move to a period of discussion.
I second.
All right, so we're gonna go move into a period of discussion. So Grant, go ahead with the first discussion point.
I'd like to recognize, first of all, I'd like to recognize Devin to formally kind of talk about the bill, please.
Is there any objection? Okay, Devin, go ahead.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you, Cameron. When I began working on this concept that would eventually become known as the Office of the Inspector General, I knew that building internal controls to implement an auditing process would be an uphill battle. Oftentimes, oversight is not always accepted by those who are impacted by it. I understood that when I was working on this back in the spring of last year. Regardless, I put months of research and development into an office that I'm proud to present to you today. The OIG, the Office of the Inspector General, is an unprecedented step in ensuring transparency, building public trust in the SGA, and providing a safe haven for those who would otherwise fight private battles alone. My motto for the OIG from the start has been advocating for the advocates. Oftentimes, advocates like yourself and myself place those that they are fighting for before themselves. When it comes to taking care of others, it's so easy to lose oneself in that mission. The OIG fulfills a number of different objectives: protecting SGA members from abuse, ensuring the public has regular and unabridged access to SGA information and documentation, and ensuring that decision makers of the SGA have resources to enhance the SGA's ability to do its job. Article 1, Section 2, subsection E of the Constitution states, above all, the Student Government Association shall ensure the voice of the student body is always heard at the University of North Texas. I've always fought hard to ensure that this was the direction of the SGA. If you've tracked what I've said for the last 2 years in SGA meetings, that came up pretty frequently when I would speak. I believe that the Senate and the executive branch is best able to do this if there is an environment of transparency and if there is a renewed public trust in the SGA. The OIG does not make formal decisions in hiring or firing, and it does not make decisions that the Senate or President are supposed to make. The OIG only acts as a resource to those entities who might not otherwise have the capacity to fulfill those duties that can take so much time during the week. While the Senate certainly has the ability to do what the OIG works to accomplish, it is so difficult when senators are focusing on school and work and their own advocacy priorities beyond internal controls. That's why I'm happy to introduce the OIG as a resource for the Senate, so that more time and effort can be dedicated to advocacy outside of what we're working on in the SGA, while also receiving the information that is expected of a Senate who performs these oversight responsibilities. As a senator, I've seen firsthand how difficult it is to see what's actually happening in the SGA. Last year, this lack of clarity and a lack of built-in protections for SGA members contributed, I believe, to a vice president and a chief of staff resigning last year, both of whom cited abuse and bullying in the executive branch. Now, I can't speak to the veracity of either side of that story. As previously stated, it's difficult for senators to have the kind of clarity required to address those concerns. The OIG is an office that I consider critical to the success of the SGA, as a democratically elected institution that represents the voices of students across the campus, who, by a voting process, determined that each and every one of you were the best people to speak on their behalf. I believe that the OIG acts as a safe haven and a proactive sanctuary of justice. I believe it embodies and codifies the principles of transparency, of accountability, and of oversight, all of which are so important when it comes to representing others. This bill is something that, I've spent a lot of time working on. It's something that transcends, it's a concept that transcends administrations in the SGA. It transcends the people in SGA. It's a concept that protects the core tenets of representation. And one of those core tenets is transparency. And so that's something that I'm fighting for. It's something that I know that the co-sponsors of this bill have fought very hard for, and I'm very appreciative of the hard work that they've put into this, the hard work that is matched by myself as well. And I really hope that we're able to have a productive discussion about this and come to an amenable conclusion regarding this bill. But that's what I wanted to kind of that's kind of what I wanted to say in introductory terms. Grant will probably want to speak on the bill as well, but that's kind of what I wanted to initially speak about the legislation. So.
Thank you, Devin, if you're done talking.
Yep.
When me and Devin and JT have kind of been working on this bill for so very long, we started talking about it, and then we put it in the works during the actual summer Senate period, and we've been talking about it. And one of the things that reached out to me, why I was one of the co-signers and authors, was because I don't know about y'all, but when I was campaigning, and even now I've been talking to my constituents, one of the biggest things is, and what we all kind of campaigned on after I watched some of them, was we want more student involvement. We want more we want to be more proactive. And with that being said, one of the things that kept coming up on multiple of my fellow students and constituents was that SGA was not inclusive. There was many division between the branches. And so when Devin came to me with this idea, and then with JT, it was like, wow, this is something that we need to tackle to make sure that not only does SGA keep functioning, it keeps everything productive, and make sure that everyone is being treated fairly and everyone making voice for and evidence, advocating for advocates, is making sure that we don't suffer because we don't know the rules or anything like that. So with that being said, I'd like to move to motion to, if any other senators would like to talk about it, if they have any questions at the moment, I'd like to hear them, your thoughts or concerns.
I am
Well,
not
right.
sure, but I would like to be recognized to speak if possible, please.
Okay, so right now, hold on, Danielle. Right now was the reading portion of the bill. We can get to a discussion period. but we were just reading the bill as of right now. Once we get to the discussion period of supporting the bill and et cetera, that's when we can move forward to that discussion period.
Okay. So then I'd like to move to a motion of questioning.
Second.
Okay, Grant, go ahead with the first question.
My first question is, it's kind of more, I'd like to recognize, please forgive me if I butcher your name here, Daniela, to speak. Am I muted?
Second.
Okay.
Second. And it's
Okay.
Danielle.
Sounds good. Thank you. And it's Danielle, you were very close. I appreciate it.
So my apologies.
No problem. So let me see. Let me pull up my notes real fast. Well, my notes are not pulling up, so I'm just going to go ahead. Thank you for recognizing me, but I will just go ahead and disclose it for right now. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Was there another question?
Is there a reason why we have our pictures up on top of in front of the bill?
Oh, my apologies. I didn't even realize I was like that. I was trying to see everybody's faces because I can't see, and so I didn't know like who was speaking.
Right.
But I'll remove it. Okay. I think. Okay, you're at the bottom right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we
So
go.
I'm not used to just having the one screen. All right. Were there any other questions? Or were you moving forward? Did you want to read questions anymore? What did you want to do?
Are there any more questions from the senators or non-senators?
I have a question. I was just curious, it's placed under the, I mean, this is just very technical, but, it's placed under the judicial branch, it seems, but it acts independently of everything else with the judicial, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I was just maybe clarification, yeah. Appreciate it.
Any other questions or concerns?
Any more questions from senators?
Oh, just kidding.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I know Krista had her hand up. I don't know if she wanted to be recognized. Her sponsor.
Any objections to recognizing Krista to speak? I didn't see her hand up, but thank you for letting me know. Okay, Krista, go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure, it sounded like y'all are about to vote on the bill. I just wanted to make sure everybody, if that's the case, if everybody understood what was happening, because this is a constitutional amendment, which is a big deal, and nobody's talked about the fact that this would go to a student referendum. At least, sorry if I missed it somewhere, but I just want to make sure that the process explained to everybody before y'all actually vote on this bill so that everybody understands.
To answer that, that is why it's an emergency status, because of the time crunch, because we do want to put it in the referendum, and there is a deadline that we have to follow. So that's why, again, it's in emergency status. Any other question? I believe Sophia had a question.
Well,
want to speak on.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on, pause. Okay, Krista, go ahead and finish with what you were saying.
No, Grant, I understand that's why it's on emergency status, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody has been explained that this is a referendum and what a referendum is, because I'm not sure I've heard that, because it's kind of a big deal. This is not just a normal bill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not speaking for or against it. I just want to make sure, as this is one of your very first bills, that everybody understands what's going on.
Yes, and that's just kind of why I said that's why we put it in emergency status, because it's a constitutional. I'm just trying to reword it and just dumb it down for myself.
Okay, so I think we're trying to speak on explaining exactly what a referendum is and what happens within a referendum. JT, what were you trying to say? Hold on.
Oh no, I was just gonna speak to Christy, because to Miss Krista's point on the referendum part.
Okay. So if you would like me to explain exactly what a referendum is, then I can go forward with that. So a referendum, so when we did pass the MOU jointly within the SGA and GSC, it was essentially the memorandum of understanding. And so when we have to go through certain election periods, once it comes to an election month or like an election period, we vote on these constitutional changes. And so this bill is essentially changing our constitution. And so next week during homecoming, this is generally a time when we have election periods. Students will be voting on this being placed within our constitution, this entity being added to our constitution. So it's a huge process because this bill was originally submitted in a full form. We had to our Grant and Devin had to go back and change where it was bill and constitution together. And so once we did bring it to forward, we did meet yesterday to discuss as far as how heavy this bill was and how big it is as well. And so from here, if it is voted on upon, then this will be on the ballot for students to vote on to be added to our constitution. So this is like a big student body whole thing going on. Does that answer the questions? Well, I guess not answer the questions, but what Krista was saying. If you wanted to add anything, Krista. Okay, so now we can continue to go through questioning periods. So JT, so I had JT's hand up. I didn't know if yours was to Krista's point or if you had a question. And let me look in participant list to make sure that the order is correct. Hold on one second. Sorry, guys. David, are you able to see, anyone else able to see the participant list? It's like frozen.
It's going to be JT, Sophia, and then me.
Okay, go ahead, Jermaine.
Yeah, I was just speaking to Chris's point, so it's not necessarily a question, but the point of like, this will be a referendum, this will be something that our student body is voting on. So I do want to I'm glad that we're making that point of like how heavy this is, because once this hopefully today is passed by us, it will go to a referendum, and that's like
it's only for like a 2-year college.
What happened?
I'm not sure.
JC, continue to go. Just go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so yeah, I just want if we pass it today and this does get passed, hopefully, and then we move forward, I just want everybody to know during homecoming or whenever that process would be that we will be voting on it, the student body will see this. And so we need to make sure that everybody's on the same page of exactly what this bill is doing, what we're saying, because people will lean towards you to ask, okay, what is this? Like I see that SGA is doing this, and I don't remember the last time we had a referendum. I'm not sure what the actual date is, but since I've been here, we haven't had one. So it might be very confusing to people. So I want to make sure that everybody asks their questions or concerns and get them out. So that way moving forward, we're all on the same page as Senate when people ask us, or SGA in general, when people ask us, what exactly is this that I'm voting on?
You're muted.
You're next, correct, Sophia?
Okay, I just have questions of clarification that I think are going to be geared more towards Miss Krista, if you don't mind. I just want to make sure I'm 100% on the same page. So with this being at an emergency status, what exactly are the guidelines for that with Robert's rule? And then does that mean we're going to be voting if this were to be passed today? So we would be voting, or the student body would be voting on this during homecoming week?
Kim, do you want to answer that or do you want me to answer that?
I can explain upon it as far as the bill going to emergency status. What does that mean? Okay, so pulling out my notes right now. So when a bill goes through emergency status, or let me start with the referendum portion of what I was explaining earlier. So within our Constitution, so changed is section 6 is being added. And so what that means is that this bill is changing our Constitution. And so by our Constitution, we have to put out statuses of changes within our Constitution to the student body. And the student body then votes on those changes, as well as the Senate. So the Senate is, of course, approving, essentially, hey, like, we would like this to be added to our Constitution. And so we want this to be an amendment. And I want to say the last constitutional change that I recall was the Advocate General position. And so that was brought to our student body for them to vote on. So once it goes through that referendum process, or once it goes after it passes through the Senate, so we would have had a election calendar that would have been provided as far as which week. And so within that calendar, we provide the date of when our election period would be for constitutional amendments or changes. And so generally the time that they have electional changes within the Constitution is always homecoming week. And so that is the reason why homecoming week is, I believe, in 2 weeks. So that is the simple reason why this bill has been placed on emergency status. A senator can ask for emergency status by 2/3 vote majority by the Senate. And so that is what happened. It was submitted. And so within the referendum process, we have to have it submitted. Krista, was it 15 days before the last day of the semester, I believe?
7 weeks before the end of the
7 weeks.
semester, which
Okay, so
is
7.
coming up.
Yeah, so that's the 23rd. So 7 weeks before the end of the semester. So since this is something being submitted in the fall, of course, it would occur in the fall. And so it would be 7 weeks before the end of the fall semester ends. Does that answer your question, Sophia?
Yes, thank you so much for explaining that to me.
Okay, yeah, you're welcome. All right, so David was next.
Okay, because it is emergency status and it is a referendum, let's say it gets approved, how are we going to advertise this referendum? Will SGA inform the student body what this bill consists of, or will it be the job of the authors of the bill?
Okay, so for that point, Krista, correct me. I believe we will meet together with the authors of the bill to decide upon exactly when we want to promote it, or not when we want to promote it, but how we want to promote it and on what platforms we want to promote it on. I'm pretty for sure that's how the system works. And then from there, the student body would know that, like, this is happening. Because of course, like you said, David, we want to give everyone a heads up that, hey, this is going to be a part of the election period. And so, you know, like, something, for example, would have been the fee increase for transportation. And so that was something that was a part of, like, during homecoming, when we're voting for homecoming king and queen, or homecoming, I believe they just call homecoming royalty now, for that specific position. You also vote on, like, any kind of changes that the student, like SGA is doing, or even like that the university might be doing. The athletic fee increase, I know it was something, it was a fee increase with the athletic department, but that was something that happened. But that was just kind of an example. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then I saw Casey's hand was up.
I apologize.
Oh, you're good.
I actually have a question about the actual bill itself. If I may talk to either Grant or recognize Devin to speak on it, or JT.
Yeah. Okay.
I was just curious about section E with subsection A and B, talking about, either the inspector general himself can have the authority to independently initiate a special investigation, and the, I guess, redundancy of having the Senate or president initiate the office of the inspector general. I don't know if I misunderstood that, but I was just curious on the purposes of the two separate subsections and why that was added.
Yes. To answer your question real quick, I'm going to actually give this question over to Devin if someone wants to second his recognizing him.
Second.
Were there any objections? Okay. Just go ahead.
Thank you for the question, Senator Casey. Yeah, I totally see where you're coming from. And certainly, if you feel that the language could be more clear, I don't mind making an amendment to that. Essentially, what the section is saying is specifically in regards to items A and B of subsection E, is the Senate can, if there's a majority vote, can compel the Inspector General to initiate a special investigation into a certain topic. Whether or not the Inspector General independently wants to do that. It would be a vote by the Senate. The Senate would be able to require that the Inspector General initiate an investigation into something. Alternatively, the president would have similar authority. So the president could say, and this is simply an example, and I'll say this is not any kind of this is just an example. There's something going on in the executive branch. We would like a third-party, objective, independent entity to review the situation, interview the executive branch members, and then come to a resolution on the issue. And that might be an example of when the president might compel a special investigation. But in the case that the Senate or the president doesn't notice or doesn't either know to or decide to take action to initiate one of those special investigations, the Inspector General would reserve the right to do that themselves, whoever that person is. So it's not necessarily a redundancy because it's basically three different entities who can initiate the special investigation. It's the Senate, it's the president, and the Inspector General. But the reason why I wanted to include that is so that the Inspector General isn't the only entity that can initiate those investigations. I believe in oversight on the OIG. I'm a strong believer in legislative oversight specifically, and that's why you do see that section in the constitutional amendment. I hope that answers your question, but I can elaborate further if you need further clarification, Senator.
No, I appreciate the response, and then I guess just a little bit more clarification. Nothing too crazy, sure. But the subsection A allows people will not know all information or all situations going on. It allows the Senate or the president to initiate something that might not be common knowledge to everyone. Correct?
Subsection E, item A?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm sorry, could you repeat your question? I don't think I understood where you're coming from.
I guess the Inspector General is, of course, not going to know all the information. So this allows this subsection A allows for that brought to knowledge to the Inspector General without having a red tape, around that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, well, there's the reason for that is multifaceted. It's to act as accountability on the OIG. So if the Inspector General isn't doing something that the Senate believes that they should be doing, such as initiating an investigation, the Senate could require that investigation to occur. Also, if there's a situation in which the president or the Senate is noticing something that perhaps the Inspector General didn't notice, then of course that would be a good reason to compel the Inspector General to initiate that investigation. But likely there would be controls in the Office of the Inspector General to retrieve information and to retrieve knowledge. Because there would be regular reporting by the Inspector General. And so for the most part, the Inspector General would probably have a very clear idea of kind of what's going on in the SGA so that the OIG could catch a lot of these issues before they become issues, or at least issues in which there's serious consequences. But yeah, so those are a few scenarios or examples of where that might be, where that section might be, what's the word, initiated. But yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, I appreciate it. I'm done.
Excellent.
All right.
Are there more questions from the senators? David.
Just for senators, because it's been a little quiet, if the authors of the bill, can we just give a little quick summary of the point and purpose of the Office of the Inspector General. So just so everyone is kind of clear about the role of the office.
Am I able to respond to that, or
you
Okay.
need
If we want to go the legal route, we could just. I recognize Devin again to speak. Any objection?
excellent. Thank you. Yeah, certainly, Senator David. The Office of the Inspector General, and it's something that I did touch on in the initial kind of statement that I provided. But it's basically a proactive response to the potential of fraud to occur, for the potential of abuse to occur, which is entirely possible, especially when there's politics involved. And politics is a natural part of the Student Government Association based on it, the way that it's structured. And we basically just want to establish a safe haven for members of the SGA. We want there to be someone advocating for the advocates in the SGA. If there's ever a situation in which they are feeling like they're attacked, bullied, abused, anything like that, this would be an avenue by which they could reach out and receive that support by senators, or not senators, but by students who are in the SGA, who were selected by the whole of the SGA, selected by the president and confirmed by the Senate of the SGA. The OIG would also work as an auditing function. So in a lot of institutions, corporate government, UNT has its own audit department. It's called internal audit. They have an auditing structure. And audit basically is reviewing information for accuracy, reviewing information for fraud, and making sure that there's regular and frequent reporting of that. So it's a pretty standard practice in a number of different types of organizations. Again, it's specifically common practice at UNT. In fact, if you look at the UNT internal audit charter, you'll find a lot of similarities between the bill and what the charter works to do. But anyway, so specifically to the point of what you were asking about, the OIG is basically a safe haven for members. It works as an auditing function. And it also helps to identify ways that the SGA could improve. So if there's ever any types of programs or projects or events or anything like that, the OIG would, probably after the event occurs or after the situation, would review what worked, what didn't, and provide formal recommendations for how it could probably be improved in the future. Which the executive branch could also certainly do. I don't think that they would be unable to do that. I just think that having another set of eyes is very helpful. As someone who's worked in a yearbook, who has been a leader in a number of different organizations, I know that I always wanted to see that second opinion. And so this would kind of work towards that as well as an auxiliary function. So that's kind of the gist of the OIG. It's different than the Advocate General, and it's got, both of them have the name General in there, so it sounds similar. But the Advocate General is basically the lawyer for the SGA. The SGA reaches out to the Advocate General with proactive questions regarding the legality of actions, that kind of stuff. The OIG doesn't focus on proactive or reactive legality. It focuses more on again, preventing fraud, preventing abuse, being there for SGA members when SGA members need it. So I think that's kind of a primary difference between the two. It'd be like if you look at like a county government, and it'd be the difference between the DA's office, the district attorney's office, and the auditor's office. That's kind of the difference between the two, I would say. Does that answer your question, Senator?
All right, Senator
Yes.
Sophia, you can go ahead with your question.
Okay. Again, this is just a question for clarification. I don't mean for it to be a derogatory question at all, but Section G, where it states that the Office of the Inspector General shall be governed by all applicable documents of the SGA, including any rules established by the Inspector General. I mean, I feel as could this be amended in any way to be more clear? Because I feel as though it is a little bit hypocrite of the, I mean, you're creating this position of the Inspector General to be there as kind of a resolver of any abuse and stuff, but I feel as though by saying including any rules established by the Inspector General, it could be abused by the Inspector General. Am I making sense? Does my question make sense? My comment?
I do, and that's why we put it before the Senate. So if we needed any amendments, we could talk about it and discuss those. So are you proposing to make an amendment?
I don't want to say yes because I don't have a exact amendment. I just feel as though that is an area of concern on the bill.
Okay. So then I get any objection. I don't know if we can do this, but since Devin is one of the co-authors of this bill, instead of we just keep seconding him, motion to him to speak, can we all agree or motion that Devin just has the right to speak if anyone has questions during this particular bill? Any objections to that?
Devin may speak. It's fine for him to speak.
Excellent. Thank you, Cameron, for the clarification. And Senator, thank you for the question. I think it's an excellent point, and this is why I really liked hearing the multiple points of view, and so I do appreciate you bringing that up. Specifically, so the second bill that was originally a part of the legislation included a requirement that the Office of the Inspector General have as a part of its structure something called the Manual for Policies and Procedures. And the Manual for Policies and Procedures is essentially the way in which the office operates. Probably similar to the Executive Manual for the Executive Branch, or the Code of Conduct for the Student Senate. But I wanted there to be a control in terms of that needs to be abided by. Now, certainly we could make sure that that's much more clear in the bill that follows and cut that section of the constitutional amendment. I don't see a big problem with that. Because it's already expected that the Office of the Inspector General is going to be governed by all applicable documents of the SGA. Of course, the part that is of concern or is the highlight is any rules established by the Inspector General. As long as there are controls in the bill to allow the Inspector General to establish a procedure that Associate Inspectors General or the staff of the Inspector General is supposed to follow, then I don't think there would be a problem with cutting that section. I think to best address your concern, it would probably be good to make an amendment to strike subsection G in its entirety, because if we're cutting that second half, then the first half is pretty much required as is. I don't know if that makes sense, Sophia. But
no, that does make sense. In fact, I think that would be really good just to strike that section as a whole. I'm sorry that I didn't see that sooner.
No, it's fine.
Are there so since this being a bill that we have in front of Senate, are there any objections, any comments about striking that out of the bill? Okay, so I'll go ahead and that will be stricken out of the bill. Let me just go ahead and find the specific marker. Oh yeah, there it is right there. Okay, so that piece will be stricken out of the bill. Okay, so let me go back to my screen. Okay, so Devin, I believe your hand was up because you were asking me to speak from earlier, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and Sophia, you didn't have any more questions, did you?
No, sir. I just put my hand down.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So, Senator David.
Real quick, David. Cameron, can you clean up the screen a little bit? There's like multiple things open. Just to make it. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Senator David.
if there's no more questions or concerns, I move that we vote on legislation F 2020, Bill 2, the creation of the Office of the Inspector General.
Second.
Second.
Okay. So we will go ahead and do this vote by roll call. So let me get to roll call. Okay, here we go. Okay. Senator Casey.
Aye.
Senator Christopher. Was Senator Christopher here? He was absent, wasn't he? Okay.
I think
So
he popped on.
yeah, I thought he did as well, but I'll move forward. Okay. Senator David.
Aye.
Senator Grant.
Aye.
Senator Hector.
Aye.
Senator Jermaine.
Aye.
Senator Jordan.
Aye.
Senator Kelsey. Okay. Senator Kelsey, are you there?
Yes, sorry, my mic keeps not working.
Okay.
I said aye.
Okay, sorry. Senator Nabia.
Aye.
Senator Paola.
Aye.
Senator Ryan.
Aye.
Senator Stephania.
Aye.
Senator Maria.
Aye.
Senator Sophia.
Aye.
Senator Maliza.
Aye.
And then Senator Victoria.
Aye.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and move forward. So this bill was passed unanimously by the Senate. So since this was submitted emergency status for Devin and Grant, we will, I guess Michael, will get in touch with you all as far as the next steps for the bill.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
All right. Okay, so moving forward through the agenda. So next we have a Senate appointment, but I don't believe she is here though. She told me she might have something. Yes. Yeah, she's not here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move forward. And then I'll see if she's going to be here for next Wednesday. I apologize for that. So we're going to move forward to committee reports. So we have the first committee, Student Affairs. So if the chair or the secretary would like to report what's been going on, please do. Is everyone there? Is there a committee member from Student Affairs?
Yes.
I can't. Oh, Kelsey. Okay. You can go ahead with the report, please.
We didn't have a meeting yet this week, so we don't have a report for this week.
Okay. All right. Just for all for committees, Senator Jermaine, he did email you all, so just make sure that you guys do get him that information to him as soon as possible, so he can go ahead and document your meetings and times. Okay. So going next to Equity and Diversity Committee.
We don't have anything to report.
All right. Student Wellness Committee.
We have nothing new to report aside from the fact that we're meeting on Friday at 7 o'clock.
Okay. All right.
Also,
thank you.
I got your email. I just haven't been able to respond back because it's during the meeting, but I got your email. So thank you.
So thank you.
Okay. Senator, or not Senator, I am sorry, Bylaws and Constitution Committee.
So the only thing I want to go ahead and report is that we decided on a date to meet. So we're going to have our first meeting on Thursday, November 5th, from like 12 to 1. And JT, I will send you the agenda once it's created, so you can be in the loop as well.
Okay, and also, can you send me the how many times a month are you guys deciding to meet? The only committee that emailed me back was our wellness committee. So thank you guys for that. But nobody else emailed me back with their information.
So far, we are planning to meet once a month unless anything arises and we need to meet more often. But so far, we're planning to do once a month.
Okay. All right. So Senate Conduct Committee.
Since we're the Senate Conduct Committee, I say if nothing to report is good. So we have nothing to report right now.
Okay. And Grant, whenever you get a chance, please go ahead and email me when I can sit in a committee meeting to present the conduct, or just email it over to you all just to review.
Say it one more
The
time.
conduct for Senate. I'm sorry. So the conduct for Senate that I'm going to present as far as like for attire, absences, office hours, etc. The Vice President just submits one, and then I just wanted to have conduct review it.
All right, cool.
Okay. Okay. So next thing we have on the agenda is Senate Workshop Day. So just to be transparent, so since the bill went through emergency status, we might end up still having to have a meeting next Wednesday. Gonna have to see as far as what's next within the bill. But once I get some more information and I understand exactly where we go ahead and move forward with everything, then we can go ahead and move forward, and I'll let you guys know if we will be doing our bonding or our workshop day next Wednesday or the Wednesday after. So the Wednesday after is homecoming, and I'm sorry I keep on pushing it back, but I promise like I am planning it out. Like I literally have some things already prepped, but it's just because of just the past few weeks, we've just been really busy and just had to readjust some timelines on things. So for the workshop day that I have prepared, so right now I have a legislation roundtable, a team dynamic activity, goal setting, and then concerns that you all might have. So a good idea that a senator gave me was reviewing the concerns that are submitted by students, and then seeing if those concerns can be something that we can possibly implement within SGA. Or that can be written up within legislation. Once we start receiving concerns, or once actually I get concerns from DTA, I will go ahead and let you all know or bring them up. And then we also will talk about concerns that you all maybe have or noticed on campus as well. But I did just want to give you guys a heads up on that and the information that will be provided. So definitely, senators, I will be sending you guys a Zoom link for it. And then for the meeting, it's just casual, so you guys don't have to wear polos or anything. We'll just be meeting over Zoom, and then, yeah, we'll just have a good little time. So I'm super excited just to figure out some other ways and to engage everyone, and then also think about some ways that we can increase retention within the Senate, and then, yeah, just have good morale. But moving forward, if there hasn't been any kind of questions brought up or any hands raised, I'm going to go ahead and move to officer reports. So one thing before I ask if there's any questions, Dite, I don't know if he's here, but I'm going to go ahead and just give his report. So he did want to, oh, he is here. But Dite, did you want to go ahead and talk about it? Let's see if he hears me. Okay, I guess he's not here. I was looking at something. Okay. So for his report, he wanted to give us a heads up on next week is recruitment week for SGA. And so one day out of the week, he'll be having different takeovers. And he wanted just to ask a few senators if they'd be interested in doing a takeover day for the SGA account. He sent a message in our general chat. So if you are interested, go ahead and give him an email. Just letting him know that you're interested so he can go ahead and place you in one of the days next week for Instagram takeover. Okay, so that was all that DK had. I didn't have any report from anybody else or, any other thing just to feed or to let you all loop in on. So was there any questions from anyone on any officer reports? Go ahead, David.
This is mainly for communication director. So I've been looking on the website, and I've noticed there's been a discrepancy with our meeting minutes. There is one, I think it was September 16th, that only half of the minutes were on there, and then halfway it's cut off. So I'm gonna try to share my screen. Well, first let me get to our website so y'all can see what I'm talking about. And hopefully it can be easily corrected.
Well, here, let me look on mine.
Not that one. It's nope, not that day. Oh, it's the September 9th.
The approved minutes?
Yes. So, and because it cuts off from the presentation from transportation services, and nothing else is below that.
Was that the end of the report? I'll have to look on my laptop and see if that was the meeting minutes that I have received. But I do remember, like, I did email them to Gia. I'm gonna have to look in my notes and see if that was what I have received, because I know transportation services did come towards the end of the meeting, and they did give he said something towards the end of the meeting, and so I don't remember if because this was when we were doing videos for officer reports, and so these are like questions that senators had. Did you have like a report, a current minutes that were different than these ones when you were taking them?
Yes. So let me go back on Teams because it's on Teams. Because on Teams, because I post our minutes on Teams as well, there was just a few more stuff on there, and it just cut off.
Okay. Well,
other than that, that's the only thing, because it's about 4 pages long.
That's weird.
Yeah. If you need me to send you a PDF.
I see it now. I see the rest of the notes that are on here on this Teams one. That's weird. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure. Okay.
Other than that, that's
all right. I'm gonna write that down and let Amani know, and send the correct one over. So she is completing her training this week. So by next week, I've already said that needs to be updated on the website. So we'll start having things updated within the next week.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, JT.
Okay, I had a question for Danielle. I'm not sure how much money we have in the budget, but I was wondering, I know last year the SGA senators got the plates like with their name on it and their actual like college and stuff. I was wondering if there is by chance any way that we could still get those, or either vote to approve money to get them for when we do like office hours, possibly next year in person, or if we do our own event with our specific college, as Neil is possibly letting in-person events maybe happen after November 1st with these new restrictions, if we can have those plates.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, sorry, Cam. You go ahead.
All I was gonna say was, so I was actually, I found them like, of course, like 2 months ago, and I was like, this is a great idea. I was gonna get some. I mean, the only reason I didn't do them was because we weren't in person, so I didn't like make it a heavy, like, I didn't say nothing yet to Danielle. But what Danielle was gonna say, I'm sure we have money to do it. But you can say something, Danielle.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can definitely purchase them. However, it does, like, with having the nameplates, like Cameron said, everything is technically still virtual. So it would also depend on how many people are allowed to be in person because, you know, your name does pop up on Zoom and you can put senator and stuff like that. But, you know, if, you know, things end up being more in person and stuff, then yes, we can look into getting y'all those cardstock nameplates.
But one thing, JT, so I was thinking about just still ordering them in general, though, or asking Danielle to order them, just because I think it's something that can be a momentum, like, you know, just something to have a keepsake. Because I thought they were like really cool, like opposed from the badges. I thought they were like something different to have and just to take, you know, after, you know, your years of Senate, you know, your tenure. But okay, were there any other questions for any other officers? I don't see any more hands. I'm gonna make sure on my iPad because this is moving slow. Devin, oh, okay, he did just raise his hand. Okay. Were there any objections to allowing Devin to speak? Okay, Devin, yeah, you can go ahead and speak.
Thank you, Cameron. So I don't know if the outreach director is in the chat or if this is even something that the outreach director would be able to address at the moment, and that's totally fine. We had our non-traditional student affairs committee yesterday, and I'm the only person on it, and so I was just wondering what we're doing to get more people on it, if there's any kind of like social media push or anything like that. And we do have our city and state relations committee tomorrow, meeting tomorrow, and that's going to be mostly introductory. So I'm really looking forward to that. But hopefully future meetings are going to be more, have like guest speakers and focusing on legislation, that kind of stuff. But anyways, I was a little concerned about the non-traditional student affairs committee, just because I would like to have more voices on that committee. And I was just wondering if those applications were open and kind of what we were looking like in terms of that. Thank you.
Yes. Hold on one second. Non-traditional student affairs. Okay, so I'm just looking at I'm just seeing the numbers from the last year for the committee. I'll ask you say on that. I do know, so I will say is that Amani has thought about different ways to increase social media engagement. And so that is like an initiative that we're working on right now. So I'll see if DT is planning on pushing any more committee applications, like as far as them being open still. I don't know if the numbers though for the committees are the same as they were last year. And so you might of course know a little bit more as far as how many representatives are on the committee for that specific one. But I do know for some committees, they did lower the number of members that they have for the committee that they were taking in. So I'm not sure if that's what it is, but I will ask him if he is going to, of course, put another social media push on committee applications in the near future. But you
Excellent.
can go ahead and answer that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I just want to follow up. Just, I wasn't sure. I didn't think one person on the committee was quite right, and so I just wanted to follow up. I've sent a few emails. I couldn't get a response, so I just wanted to see if there was something that they'd be able to address, that you'd be able to speak to. But I do appreciate you answering that and knowing that y'all are definitely focusing on that social media outreach. I think that's very important. Glad to hear y'all are doing that. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so definitely, hopefully, once Amani, she gets everything fully together on her end as far as training, gets her team prepared, then our engagement will, look a little different for this upcoming year because, I think this being a year that we're all fully online, we have to be really creative as possible. We can't just do the basic forms, the basic flyers, like just the general things. We have to find things that very attract students' eyes and attract like your listeners, your readers, whoever. Okay, so were there any other questions for officers? Okay, so as far as announcements, I don't have any other than the workshop day. So just reminders for that to just have it on your calendar. It's going to be during meeting time, though, of course, still. But just to remember to kind of be prepared for, a little brain exercises, to think about, a little outside of the box and to, push each other. And then I'll also have a sign up sheet for those initiatives that I was talking about with the exec board, so that you guys can, for those who are interested, it can be multiple senators, but just to assist and get legislation written once those are implemented. And just to remind you all, so there's not going to be really any work from your end. The exec staff has already done the research aspect, and they're doing the meetings with the certain representatives outside of UNT, if that's who they need to talk to in order to get the initiative implemented. Were there any announcements from any senator or anyone? Go ahead, Jermaine.
Yes, I was just going to remind everybody that early voting is open, so please try to go vote. You can vote at Gateway. Usually, I think Monday through Friday from 7 to 7 p.m. And I think, well, that's Monday to Saturday, and I think Sunday has a different time. I believe it's 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. I could be completely wrong on that, but please go out and vote. Yeah, that's all I was going to say. Just please go out and vote. It ends October 30th, so please go out and vote.
Vote, vote, vote. Early voting is the best voting. Okay, David.
Yes, it is. I was trying to go back. You were saying about the executive board. Did we just send you an email saying, "Hey, I'm interested in doing that, partnering with any executive board member"? Okay.
Yeah, you can give me an email.
Perfect.
Yes, sir. Okay. Were there any other announcements from anyone? Okay. I was just thinking if I had anything else that I wanted to let you all know about. Nope. Other than 2 weeks is homecoming, so definitely be prepared, see some activities, go out, have fun, and then Halloween is coming up next week, so we will probably see each other. So yeah, it's been a good time. So hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you guys next week.